All right. Mic check. Making sure the sound is sounding good before we jump right in. Give me 2 seconds. Good people, just checking my audio levels. Looks like everything is firing on all cylinders. Beautiful. So that sound like a little Memphis accent right there. Beautiful. Beautiful, guys. Beautiful. Welcome, man, to the latest and greatest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, live from the Steel Basement. And let's get in, my friends. Let's get on in, my friends. You know, I try to run through these shows rather quick now because, again, it's the off season. There's not a lot to talk about, not a lot going on. So don't want to hold you guys too long. I do have the Discord open tonight. So there will be a moment that I will allow you guys to come on, chat it up, and, you know, be a part of the show if you want. If not, hey, I got 2 in a possible for you guys who are spades players. I have 2 in a possible tonight in terms of topics. 2 main topics and a possible one, which, you know, I kind of lead into one as like an ancillary topic. But really quick stuff, man. We're going to dive in and dive out. And like I said, if you guys want to come on and be a part of the show, you know, always give you guys a few minutes. I try to let you guys, you know, limit it to 2 minutes or less. Speak your piece. We get in and out. And that's how we're going to do it. Again, guys, you know, it'll pick up, you know, when it's supposed to. You know, it's the slow period, you know, so don't be alarmed. I'm going to stick around, but we're in the lull period right now as we approach the draft. Let's get to it. What you guys got? Let's see who is in here early. Kev So Fun is in the building. Steeler Cards is in the building. F. Ballard is in the building. Lawrence Holcomb is in the building. Who else is up in here? The infamous Tim is in the building. Jean, which I now know is my guy. Kenyon is in the building. My man Mark Cunningham is in the building as well. And it is good to be back, guys. A lot of you guys know that I just came back from vacation, had a wonderful time, man. And listen, I recommend everybody, if you have the opportunity, take a vacay, man, whether it's in or out of the country. Just take some time for yourself. And yeah, take time for yourself, man, in this crazy world. But all right, man, let's get to it. My main 2 topics of the night. Let me pull up my notes here really quick. Hold on. You guys see the title of the video. We obviously are going to talk about, you know, some news now that we're hearing about Carson Beck and how he was a pre-draft visit. So I'll visit that a little bit. That'll probably be my main topic. And also just want to kind of talk about the Steelers' new secondary and, you know, what type of expectations that I may have for that, you know, new secondary, as well as are there still some unanswered questions in terms of the secondary. But we'll get to that. And maybe we'll lead with that. And also what I'm probably going to do just really quick, man, is I'll just, you know, go through the signings as well. I'll re-go through the current signings as we know it as of today, as far as all of the moves that have happened in what we now know, the Steelers 2026 free agency. So let's get to it. All right, guys. So let's talk about it really quick. The new look secondary. So I'm going to focus specifically on a guy by the name of Jaquan Brisker. For those of you that don't know, you probably know, but Jaquan Brisker plays safety in the NFL. He played alongside of Joey Porter Jr. at Penn State. You know, these guys are tight. Brisker as well is another guy that is from Pittsburgh. So just like Mike McCarthy, you get a guy who was from the area that, you know, same spill, you know, grew up loving the Steelers, dreamed that one day he would possibly be able to play for his hometown team. He now is doing it. And at a young age, I might add, if I'm not mistaken, he's 26 years of age. So you still get him while he's young. Definitely know that Brisker had some, you know, some injuries or, you know, injury that kind of sidelined him in Chicago. But I think he's a solid player, man. But I really want to focus on him, right? Because as much as the secondary, where I have a question, I really kind of want to know, and maybe you guys can fill it in. I'm curious to know what the Steelers' plan is at free safety, post safety, if you will, for some of you guys that prefer that terminology. Again, for some of you guys who are unfamiliar what a free safety / post safety is, think more so along the lines of I will say Minkah Fitzpatrick in the more recent years. And the reason why I didn't initially just say Minkah right out of the gate, as you guys know that Steelers also used him in the box more. But think of a Ed Reed type, right? Free safety or post safety is usually the guy that's your center fielder. He is virtually the last line of defense. He's the guy that's roaming, with his eyes. He's looking at every aspect of the field, trying not allowing things to get deep behind him. Traditionally, your strong safety is more of a guy that can play deep, but he is more so suited for more of your more a physical nature, if you will, more of a in the box type of guy, or, a lot of times even in a cover 1 or a cover 3 situation, you kind of lurk. A lot of times you lurk your strong safety and let your other safety be more of the center fielder. And some teams flip-flop that. The Steelers have done that in recent years as well, where they will flip-flop which guy is playing deep. But just giving, a little education to some people. Again, I understand that some people watch the show and don't really necessarily understand that. Some youth, even some who are not or younger, they just don't quite understand the difference. So just giving you guys a quick, very 30,000 foot overview of what I mean when I say you're free or post safety, right? Now, Brisker is a guy that, from what I've seen mostly, looking at his Chicago film, he plays a lot around the box. I think he's capable of more than likely playing deep as well. I think, I think most safeties can be versatile. I think most safeties can play both. There are some safeties that are better suited in the box. There are also safeties that are better suited playing deep. But I think athletes, really good athletes, athletic safeties can play both. So I do think Brisker has that capability to do that. Can't say I saw a ton of it in Chicago, but just kind of watching some of his Chicago film, there is times that he's deep, but they absolutely use him as an in the box type of guy, lurking him on the side. On the line of scrimmage. We'll blitz him. We'll line him up in man at times. He's a, pretty good sized guy. They got him listed at 6'1", I think 6'1", 204, something like that. Who knows what his actual weight is, but a bigger guy, good sized guy. And it makes me wonder what the Steelers are going to do at free safety. Because again, Deshaun Elliott, another guy that we all know from the Steelers tape. We know Deshaun Elliott as being, that strong safety, the thumper, if you will, that seems to always be close to the action, in the right position, even when in coverage. But is he gonna flip to free safety, or would you prefer to keep him at strong safety? Are the Steelers gonna play more of a pick 'em at safety, right, where either one of their guys can play deep? I don't know. Again, this is the new defensive coordinator that's coming in. I almost said offense, but also new offense and defensive coordinator. But this is a new defensive coordinator for the Steelers. We have not seen Patrick Graham and his plan as a Steelers defensive coordinator, so who knows what plans they have for these guys. But it's just a question that I have right now. When I look at the secondary, you would assume, right? Assume, and that's never safe to assume, but you would assume a guy like Jalen Ramsey is going to move back down to the nickel spot, right? Maybe that's what the plan will still be. Again, this is a new regime. We don't know what the plans are for this new coaching staff for Jalen Ramsey. It was very clear last season when Jalen Ramsey was acquired that he would be on the field with Joy Porter Jr. and Darius Slay, right? We all knew that was the plan, is to have all three of those guys on the field, which thus we learned that Jalen Ramsey would be more so the big nickel. That's what he was until he was unable to do so due to injury and things of that nature of other players. So, again, Jalen Ramsey was moved to safety, but I don't know if those are the plans going forward for the Steelers. But again, look at the secondary. You know, they re-signed Asante Samuel. Are they looking at Asante Samuel to be an outside guy or an inside guy, right? They also signed Jamel Dean, which we know is going to be an outside guy. You would assume with the money that he is being paid, then he's going to be opposite Joey Porter Jr. So right there, you have your right and left corner. Is it going to be Ramsey in the nickel, or are they looking for Asante Samuel to potentially play that role, or is Asante Samuel just going to be a backup or a rotational piece on the outside, right? So it all comes down to what they're looking to do with Ramsey. And again, with them, you know, signing Brisker, it makes me think, I don't think Brisker is going to be looked at as, I don't know. I don't know if he's a rotational piece or they're planning to start him. And again, if he is a starter or if he's playing significant time, the question still remains for me, at what spot? Is he backing up Deshaun Elliott? Is he a depth piece? Is he a dime backer? You know, the Steelers, again, have attempted to run 3 safety sets for the last several years. But again, this is a new coordinator and new regime. So those are my quick questions, guys. Let me see what you guys have to say really quick. Let me see if you guys have anything to say on that matter in terms of Brisker. Hold on. Let me take a peek. Okay, you guys are talking about scouts and Lemon and all this other stuff. Okay, none of you guys have anything much to say in regards to Jaquan Brisker. Okay, so those are just my thoughts, man. For anybody who was curious to know what my thoughts were on that subject matter, really like the signing. You know, again, I think this guy is very talented, absolutely talent. But, you know, is he just going to be a third safety, dime backer? Is there any plan for him to start? I don't know. Let me see. What do you guys have? Looks like something popped up here. Kenya says Brisker will be the third safety. Okay, perhaps. So who's starting at free safety is still my question. Camp So Fun says put Ramsey in the slot. Yeah, I'd like to see him back in the nickel. Lawrence Holcomb says, Sim, I think that Brisker is insurance for Elliott, possibly. He is injured and the injury was severe. Yeah. You could be very right about that. You know, and this is me assuming that Elliott is going to be good to go. Kenya says, Ramsey is the free safety that will slide to the nickel in some sets. Yeah, we'll see, man. You're probably right about that. I just don't know if I don't know if I'm really all the way comfortable with that, to be honest. I don't think Ramsey did a bad job. I think there were games that Ramsey definitely showed up at safety. I don't think he did a bad job, but I think I would prefer Ramsey to slide in at the nickel spot more than the safety spot, because I just think it showed dividends there. And again, when they do that, it still leads me to wonder who's going to be the guy that's going to play the deep half of the field at safety. So we'll see. But those are just my quick questions. Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you that Brisker is not a free safety. So it could be very, very, very well could be what some of you guys are saying is maybe he's an insurance policy for Deshaun Elliott. But then again, I'm sure they're going to use him in 3 safety sets and things of that nature and nickel set. In dime sets as a dime backer. But my question is still, if Jalen Ramsey will continue to be the free safety, then who's playing in the slot? Which guy is playing in the slot? Is that going to be an Asante Samuel role? Is that going to be a draft pick? So I still have a few questions. Not to say that I disagree with any of what they've done, but I've just got questions because it's all new to us. Once I know who's solidified, has locked down a spot, and I can say, all right, this guy's going to be that, this guy's going to be that, then I can give my opinion on the matter. So these are just early questions. Early questions. All right, guys. So the next thing, what I will go to is just going to recap what the Steelers have done really quick in free agency, and then we'll get to the quarterback talk. But in terms of people who were re-signed, if it matters to you guys, no disrespect to the punter, but the Steelers did re-sign Cameron Johnson to a 1-year contract. We know that. What we didn't talk about so much last week is, it kind of went under the radar, and I meant to talk about it, but Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward signed a 2-year deal, which I believe did help in the cap situation. So, will Cam play 2 more years? Who knows? But again, clearly with extending Cam, it was to free up some cap as well, as clearly the objective is for Cam Hayward to retire a Steeler, and I have zero problem with that. Cam Hayward is still playing at a high level at his position and at his age, right? And I know some people are going to say, oh, well, he hasn't played as big. Guys, the man is 37 years old, or is set to be 37, I think, or is he already 37? Playing defensive tackle in the NFL, and he's still holding his weight. So I have no problem with them giving Cam Hayward the you're going to play in one uniform treatment. No problem with that. We already know, of course, about Cole Holcomb, 2-year deal. Jack Driscoll signed a 1-year deal. If you guys may remember him, he was on the roster for a bit as a tackle when the Steelers were kind of shuffling tackles. So he's re-signed for a year. Asante Samuel, which we already know about. One that I didn't talk about, and I know I'm going to mess the name up. Let's just say Izai Otomawu. Maybe I said that correctly. Not mad at that, as a backup D tackle as well. Not mad at that. You need depth there. And when he had to play, did some decent stuff. I'm not saying he was the greatest. He was a solid backup, right? When he was in there, but we need depth either way. So I'm cool with that. Jamel Dean, which we know about. Rico Dowdle, which we know about. Of course, acquiring and signing Michael Pittman Jr., which we know about. And here's one that we didn't talk about either. Both kind of came a little bit later. Jaquan Brisker would have been one of them, but also Sebastian Joseph Day, D tackle, 2-year contract. Again, this guy in his career has been pretty solid in the run game. So I think the Steelers are definitely trying to reduce being one of the laughing stocks in the league in terms of giving up yardage in the run game. I think there will be an emphasis on stopping the run. I think we do have a cornerback group now that you can kind of commit more guys to stop in the run and leave some of these guys on the island. I'm cool with Joey Porter Jr. on the island, and I'm cool until seeing otherwise Jamel Dean on the island. So maybe the Steelers, will play more of those sets where, listen, we're going to line up man-to-man and beat us. We'll see. We'll see. But also, a guy like Brisker, again, bringing in these type of in-the-box type of guys is, to me, just showing you the type of defense that they're going to be looking to, display on the field. So I'm excited to see what the Steelers' plans are, especially once the draft is done. And we'll see what this team is made of and what they're trying to do as we learn this coaching staff. So there you have it. Now, my last and final topic, man, before we get out of here, and like I said, for anybody who may want to come on, I do have the Discord open for a little bit of time here. Last thing I want to talk about, man, and this is interesting. This topic has been interesting week to week, right? It's the good old quarterback situation for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's my thing. We're now hearing that the Steelers, guys like Todd McShay are saying, oh, I don't think the Steelers are interested in Ty Simpson. I'm hearing that they are big on Carson Beck. All right, you hear that news come out, and then all of a sudden, and I'm pulling up my notes here, that's why I'm looking to the right. You found out about pre-draft visit. So in case you guys are unfamiliar, as of right now, the Steelers have set, and according to these dates, if they're correct, they have already met with 6 non-local visits and 1 local visit, which, you get basically 30 non-local visits. We'll see how that pans out. Again, I don't know if this coaching staff is going to do it the same way that we're accustomed to seeing from a Mike Tomlin coaching staff. But so far, I'll give you all of the names. Markel Bell, offensive tackle from Miami. Ephesians Presock, cornerback from Washington. Wide receiver Jeff Cardwell from Cincinnati. Wide receiver / kick returner Kendrick Law from Kentucky. Cornerback Chris Johnson from San Diego State. And also quarterback Carson Beck from Miami. So 2 things come to mind here. There's 2 guys from Miami already on this list. Makes me think that the Steelers may be at the Miami Pro Day, so we'll keep an eye on that. Second, let's suppose the Steelers are looking to draft a guy like Carson Beck, who's not currently right now, being projected as an early round pick guy, more of a later round, day 2 at the earliest, possibly day 3. Here's a question I have for you guys. And this is a real question because, again, some of you guys seem to challenge this every single week. If the Steelers were to draft Carson Beck, who would you like to see as the starting quarterback in that scenario? Based off of who's currently on the roster. Or what do you think the Steelers would do with the draft pick? Do you think Carson Beck plays right away? Is he your day 1 starter? Or would they merely be drafting him to compete with Will Howard and let those 2 determine who becomes the starter? Or would they be drafting him for additional insurance and then the plan would be is to go with Mason Rudolph? Again, this is all assuming that we don't know anything about Aaron Rodgers. I'm just saying. I'm going to ask the question one more time and then I'll look and see what the chat has to say. And by the way, excuse me, I was not looking at the chat. So if I missed any comments or any Wonder Breads, my bad. Thank you in advance if you've already done that, or thank you in the past tense if you've done that. Question again. The Steelers draft Carson Beck at whatever point in the draft. Not talking first round, but let's say they draft him where he's projected. Who would you guys like to see be the starter day 1? If there's a roster that consists of Mason Rudolph, Will Howard, and Carson Beck. I would love to see what you guys have to say there, and then I'm going to give you my comments. Let's see what else you guys got really quick. Steeler Card says Beck has not been the same since the surgery either. True. I could pretty much agree with that. Steeler Card also says, assuming Rodgers comes back and Beck gets drafted, who's the odd one out? Rudolph? I would prefer it to be Rudolph. No disrespect to him, but again, man, let's stop recycling. You know what I mean? If Rodgers came back and they were to, again, this is all assumption, if they were to draft a guy like Beck, then Mason Rudolph can walk, in my opinion, because now you got 2 young guys. Will Howard, to me, should not automatically, but he should be pre-penciled in as your number 2, and penciled in because, again, you can erase a pencil if he doesn't outplay a Beck, right? But that's how I would do it. Mason Rudolph in that scenario, to me, would be the odd man out. What else y'all got? Mark Cunningham says, I rock with Georgia, and he just looked scared in the big games, but I got to admit, he surprised me a little bit last year. Okay. Still a card is saying Howard. Lawrence is saying Howard. MT Mooch, what's up, Mooch? He says, I would trade a third or fourth for Mac Jones or entertain Mac Jones offers. Okay. So I'm guessing in the Mac Jones case, you would say you would trade for him and he would be your day one starter. Jay Underrated says Will Howard. Kev So Fun says I'd rather have Ty Simpson. Okay. See, now we're getting somewhere. All right. So for everyone who says they would rather Will Howard or Ty Simpson, and some of you guys said Carson Beck. Not really. I didn't see anybody say anything about Carson Beck. But the point that I'm trying to make here, guys, and what the Steelers fans, we have to really accept, this is where the Steelers are from a quarterback standpoint. There is no magic wand that we're going to be able to wave around the Steelers organization and come up with this dynamo quarterback or the sure shot, surefire quarterback. There's no magic wand that's going to do that for us. The Steelers are at the point where they're going to have to take chances, meaning run with Will Howard, because that is the narrative right now. Rumors or sources are saying if the Steelers, and Jerry Dulac even said this, I believe, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, they're all in on Will Howard. It's either going to have to be that, or if you draft Beck, that's going to have to be your plan. All of these other free agents, and I didn't want none of these guys anyway, but like the Tyler Marys of the world, and they're all gone. I said Kyler is what I meant to say. You know, I wasn't big on that anyway. Some of you wanted Kyler Murray, but these guys are gone. All of these guys that bring this guy in, they're gone. So the Steelers are currently sitting at this situation again, where some think their best case scenario is to bring Aaron Rodgers back. Maybe he comes back, maybe he doesn't, but I'm telling y'all right now, out of my own mouth, I don't care if it's Rodgers, Howard, or whoever, Carson Beck, Mason Rudolph. Y'all ready for this? I think we're in the same position with all three of them, all four of them potentially. This is what I mean. You don't know what you're going to get. Aaron Rodgers is maybe the only one that you could possibly say, I know what he can still do from an arm talent standpoint, but I'm talking about from a winning standpoint, winning playoff game standpoint. I can't sit here today and say that Aaron Rodgers gets it done even with the new constructed wide receiver core, which is probably an unfinished wide receiver core, but I'm saying at least you're bona fide 1 and 2. I don't see where I can sit here today and say, oh yeah, boy, if Rodgers comes back, boy, we're going to go to the divisional round. Can't say that. Surely can't say that if Will Howard is the starter, Mason Rudolph the starter, Ty Simpson is the starter, Carson Beck is the starter. So what I'm just trying to get people to understand is what I have been trying to express for the last several weeks. Why not give Will Howard a shot? Because there's nobody that's going to play for the Steelers right now, unless some miraculous trade happens, that you can pound the table and say it's going to be leaps and bounds better. Every single quarterback that will suit up or has the potential to be the day one starter for the Steelers right now is a crapshoot. Unfortunately, fans, my family, that's where we are. So for any of you guys that are wondering why does Sim keep talking about Will Howard, that's why. Because I think it's the same risk regardless. I say go ahead and let one of these young boys rock, especially if you're already looking at 2027 for your potential franchise guy. Y'all might think I'm crazy, man, but I am not opposed to that. What Dulac is saying, if that is true, that the Steelers fallback plan, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, they're going to hand it over to Will Howard. I ain't mad at it. Because again, I'm sitting from a standpoint as a fan of, guys, this is going to be a rebuild period. They're going to have to keep rolling dice and rolling dice and rolling dice until they finally hit 7. They're going to have to keep rolling until they hit, whether that's this season, 2027, 2028, 2029. That's just where we are. So that's just how I feel, man. I'm just curious to see what you guys think about that. It's going to be one of those seasons, man. It's going to be one of those seasons. And again, I think Aaron Rodgers still, his arm talent, he proved it last year. He can still play. When Aaron Rodgers is healthy and feeling confident, he can still play. But I also believe some of those moments where you need younger legs to show up, we're going to have more of those moments where Aaron Rodgers was almost, a liability in the pocket. Imagine that. Aaron was his best when he was on the move and when he had time and he was able to zero in on a target. But again, with an up-and-coming offensive line, there's going to be times that you got to escape. And we saw it countless times that Rodgers couldn't consistently buy time. I'm not asking him to do it every time. Every quarterback gets sacked, even Lamar. But he could not buy time consistently. He could not scramble for 3-4 yards when we needed it consistently. They wouldn't even let him do the quarterback sneak. Think about that. Most we saw him do on a sneak was he's standing back there doing this. Hands on his hips. And I ain't mad at it. I'm just saying. That shows you right there. And by the way, the guy who was doing the de facto tush push is no longer on the team. Connor Hayward was that guy. He's not on the team anymore. And I think I read something that said that it's very possible, and maybe it is happening, and maybe you guys will confirm it, that the tush push might not even be allowed this year. So I'm just saying, man, you got a guy sitting right there in your building at 6'5", 2 something. Big kid, athletic kid for the most part. Is not afraid of the moment. Give him a shot. Like, it's house money at this point because nobody expects anything from him. Nobody expects anything really from the Steelers unless us crazy fans. But the non-crazy fans don't expect much anyway. We are watching the rebuild, brand new coaching staff and all of that. Most of us is like, yeah, it might take a little while. Let's just see how this plays out. It's house money, especially if you're planning to look for franchise QB in 2027. Then that's even more reason to take a shot with this kid that you drafted last year in the 6th round. Why not? What if you strike gold? Because again, I know the organization might disagree, but I don't think the season turns out much better with a returning Aaron Rodgers. I just don't, man. The man is 42 years of age, will be 43 during the season. Come on, man. Come on. So, those are my thoughts, man. What do you guys have before we get out of here, man? What do you guys have before we get out of here? I don't see. Let me make sure. Let me throw the. Let Let me throw the link in the chat really quick, guys, for Discord, for anybody who might want to hop on for a second. What do you guys have, man? Let me see what y'all got in the chat. Jay Underrated says he agrees. Yeah, man, that's just my thoughts. Kenyon says Aaron Rodgers will be fine in the offense. Not worried about that at all. I don't know, man. I'm not worried about it, but I'm saying, again, Aaron Rodgers played at a high level last year. And I think Aaron Rodgers could be okay in that offense. I would think that Mike McCarthy, he's more of a West Coast type of guy. And Kenyon is saying, Kenyon just said it. It's a West Coast quick throw offense. The Rams run that offense. You get the ball out quickly. Very true. Very true. Listen, I think if the stars align perfectly, he'll be fine. All I'm thinking about, though, is I'm just thinking about those moments when we can't get the ball out quick. There's going to be those moments where you need the quarterback to do something with his legs. I mean, if we look around the league, there's going to be those moments. I mean, there's even times, speaking of the Rams, there's even times where Matthew Stafford had to buy time. And Matthew Stafford, being late 30s, he's still, he's still got a little mobility to him. So, I don't know, man. Let's see. He says the MPJ move was a great move for Rodgers. Absolutely. Listen, that is going to help a lot because, again, speaking of getting the ball out quick, I came on here last week and told y'all, man, Micah Pittman Jr. is a killer. I mean, just two main routes that I seen where he was killing. The main one was a slant route. Next to that was a skinny post. Right after that was an over route. Like that guy, yeah. So if we want to get the ball out quick, the quick game, he's going to help you with that. And he would potentially allow us to open up shots down the field to DK. So we'll see. Steeler Card says it's such a big disadvantage having a statue at QB. Yeah, man. And again, it's weird to say that about an Aaron Rodgers. Very weird to call him a statue, but at this stage of his career, I think the statue, it will show up at times. Again, we saw it last season. And again, I am not discrediting Aaron Rodgers. I think Rodgers played as good as he needed to at times, right? But the statue showed up at times. But all right, guys, looks like we do have at least one caller. Oh, man, it is one of our favorites, man. It's Mr. Winningham. So let me get him on here, guys. Give me a second, and we'll bring him on to speak his piece. All right, here we go. Mr. Winningham, how's it going tonight, man? Good to have you.
Everything's going good. I'm glad you had a good vacation.
Yeah, man, it was good.
Outside, that's good. That's good. Outside of the young man, Will Howard, I think Drew Allard, Penn State, we have to have a physical but athletic quarterback. I think would fit best to run that offense to, can remind me of Dak Prescott. I think it's going to feel good to use the tight ends and everything. I'm wondering whether we're going to utilize a fullback within this offense. That I don't know. I know the old classic style, Dorsey Levens, Roger Craig. I wonder whether we're going to use the fullback, a fullback in this offense. But I'd be interested to see where our draft goes. We need a young wide receiver who can take it, blow the top off the defense. But I'll be very interested to see what pieces and where will we go. We will get that young free safety and a young cornerback that'll be mentored by these great veterans. Well, I hope everybody have a great week, And thank you so much. I'm glad, always glad to reach out with you guys. Thank you.
Man, many thanks to you, Mr. Winningham. You already know how we feel about you, how I feel about you. We always love when you come on. Just good to hear from you, and this crazy world today is always good to hear from everybody. But yeah, I agree with you, man. I'm as optimistic as everyone else in this regard of what are they gonna do? Like, what does the offense look like? I know McCarthy is more of a West Coast guy. Will that include a fullback? Will they grab another piece at wide receiver, in the draft? Because, no Calvin Austin, right? Now, one guy that we don't want to forget, and I know some people do, but again, I keep reminding people, man, Roman Wilson. Keep your eyes on Roman Wilson, because I think a lot of people forget that he's a Blazer. He is fast, but doesn't negate the fact that maybe they go get a top off of the defense type of guy that could just be a threat as well, with having DK and having Michael Pittman Jr. Again, Michael Pittman Jr. has decent speed, but it's more of his physical prowess as well as, his ability to work in the middle. Again, those routes that I mentioned. DK Metcalf is fast, but DK Metcalf, for as fast as he is, he's not a run away from you type of fast off the line. He's not, hasn't appeared to be that guy. Even though we all know he has speed, we all remember that clip of him walking down Buda Baker after the interception. But in game, he doesn't seem to separate with his speed. So would definitely like to have a speedy guy. And like I said, I think a lot of us forget that Roman Wilson does have speed, and we saw him at times in the game get separation and go past guys. Ball just may not have come his way. So I am very interested to see, who's the 1, 2, and 3, and at that point, 4th receiver as well, so we can have a well-rounded, potent receiving core. I do think from a draft standpoint, man, with having all those picks, I can't be more excited about what this might mean. What are they going to do? Who are they going to pick? What positions? I think offensive line is in play now. In the first round, you think no Isaac Seumalo. I don't think we have a definitive left guard. There's a couple guys on the roster from last year that were swing guys, but again, what is this offensive coordinator, head coach, what is this regime looking for? That's why it's so dicey for me. I don't know what they're looking for. You can go off of what they did in the past. Like, I like what Mr. Winningham said, man, in regards to the Dak Prescott analogy. Like, is McCarthy going to try to build what he had in his recent stint with Dallas? Or is he going to look to build on what made him successful at Green Bay? Right? So it's going to be very interesting seeing how they build this team. Is McCarthy going to bring some of that Pittsburgh to it? He's from Pittsburgh. Is he going to bring that type of style back, even though he's been this type of head coach or this type of offensive guy? Is he going to infuse some of that toughness? This guy grew up, he literally saw the steel curtain. You know what I mean? He's a yinzer, as they say. So my eyes are wide open, man, to see what we're going to do. It's weird, man, and I know Kenyon kind of feels this way as well. We can kind of say what we think the Steelers are going to do, but new regime, same ownership, same GM, but new coaching staff, new philosophies. Does that determine what type of player they draft? I would assume so. And this is all brand new to us, man. So it's going to be one heck of a ride, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do. But until we find out what's really going to happen at the quarterback position, man, listen, I'm not mad at even what Mr. Winningham said. The Penn State kid. At this point, guys, like I said, it's a crapshoot with any of these guys, man. It really is. If Rodgers comes back, then I'm gonna do like I did last year. I will embrace that. I just don't know how much further we go. And it's not about Rodgers. It's sometimes you just need something new to build on. I guess that's what I'm saying. And this is coming to my mind in real time. Like I think what I'm saying, guys, is sometimes you just need a newness, right? I'll give you an example. Patrick Mahomes, we know, came in and he was just this phenomenal talent. Kenyon and I saw it in college. But he brought a different style of play. It was just a newness of him that was unique to him. That, yeah, he has a phenomenal coach in Andy Reid, but it was just a newness in him that allowed them to do different things. Lamar Jackson, uber skilled, uber talented athlete coming out of college, needed to develop into more of a real pure quarterback. I think over the last, I'll say it started maybe 3 seasons ago. Last 3 seasons or so, he's become more of a well-rounded QB where he's looking to pass more and accurate, right? But he brought a newness. He brought a newness to the Ravens. It wasn't a conceived guy who had been playing for 18, 19, 20 years is just going to kind of do it their way. You understand what I'm saying? And you have to coach it around them. And all due respect to the veterans, to the Ben Roethlisbergers, to the Aaron Rodgers, but it's like there's certain things that you're going to get with these guys because they've been doing it. It's like the back of their hand, right? Josh Allen comes in and brings a newness. You understand what I'm saying? It's just, that's why I'm so eager for the Steelers to just try something new. Keep trying something new. That's my only reason for saying that. You never know. You might be super successful with a Will Howard or whoever else because they ain't even got the sense enough to know to follow. You know what I'm saying? They don't even have the skin in the game to do it their way. If you understand what I'm saying, where I'm gonna just do this regardless. These dudes are still at the point where they're coachable and they can bring their talents to the table to what you're trying to display and teach, and it might just mesh. Instead of having to, believe me, you're working around the parameters of Aaron Rodgers. Any of these guys, any of them old veterans, Kirk Cousins and all of these people, you're working around their parameters as opposed to coaching up a guy, as opposed to being the quarterback whisperer. And that's the reason why I want them to just do something new, man, and be willing to sit in the rebuild. Well, let's see what else y'all got, man. Jermaine White says, I'm personally tired of the A-Rod drama series. Ish is past ridiculous. Yeah, man, that's how I feel too. It's like, dog, I'm sick of sitting here waiting to find out. Like, if you gonna play, just say you gonna play so we can get past that. So it's not a story. And again, I became an Aaron Rodgers fan this past season. Was always a fan of his game, but I didn't know him intimately, if you will, quote fingers. I didn't know him as listening to his press conferences after the game and seeing how teammates talk about him and all that. I feel like I got to learn more of, okay, he's not so bad. He changed my mind on the narrative around him this last season. Just my opinion. Some of y'all might disagree. But I still don't like, dog, just say you're going to play or say you're not. All of this drawn out, like it's... I just can't. I can't, man. I'm sick of it. I know some people probably, but he's going to come back. Okay. If we know that, then just come back, bro. So we can move past it. But whatever's going to be is going to be. Let's see what else we got. Kenya says, think of it like this. If you are married, do you want a new wife because you need a newness? I'm just saying in my Richard Pryor voice. No, but here's the thing. When the wife became the wife, she became the wife because of that. She became the wife because of that. She brought something different to the table. Now, the analogy works if you say, okay, you get divorced and then you go back and now you marry somebody or date somebody that you was with 18 years ago. Now you back to Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, man. We'll see. Like I said, I'm gonna ride and die with the team regardless, man. But we'll see. I don't want this organization to be so scared, man, to just stop piddling around, man. Just try something. You know what I mean? You like that one, huh, Kenya? Well, I think he said, this is what you sign up for when you sign a player like Rodgers. Steelers fans should be used to prima donna QBs. Yeah, man. I'll tell you why, Diggy, man. Sick of it. But either way, man, I am excited and I am ecstatic by some of these moves that we've made, man. Just thinking about the more and more I've gone back, slowed down a little bit, guys, because coming off a vacation. But even after last week's show, watched a little bit more on Rico Dowdle. Man, I am excited about what this could be. Just with those four guys: DK, Michael Pittman, Jaylen Warren, Rico Dowdle. Man, wow. And just you're going to add more pieces in there. Like, we already know that. But, man, I'm excited just by those four guys from a skill position standpoint. I just need to know who throwing them the football. That's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. And then I'd be fine. Yep. But we got a little while, guys, until the draft. We'll see how it shakes out. Will they use all 12 of those picks? Will they use a couple to move up and get somebody that we're not thinking about at whatever position? Again, the Steelers playing with house money right now, man. So it's going to be good. Yeah, and I'm not forgetting. Thank you, Jermaine. I'm definitely not forgetting Caleb Johnson, because, again, everybody's writing that kid off. All I will say is just keep watching. I hope he gets his opportunities. That kid is talented, bro. He is. You don't just lose that, right? So we'll see. But all right, man, I'm going to get out of here unless y'all got something else. Oh, one last one. Charles24 says, this needs to be Rodgers' last year. Then we either pick up Kirk Cousins or roll with Will. Pick up Kirk Cousins. Come on, Chuck. No, man. No. You can't say pick up Kirk Cousins or roll with Will Howard in the same sentence. We got to go one way or the other. And if it's not Aaron Rodgers, I want the Steelers to just roll with Will Howard or any other young guy that they choose to bring in or draft to compete with Will Howard. That's it. But that's all I got, man. Listen, if y'all haven't already, if you like what you saw here tonight, make sure you do so and show your love by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel if you really like it. Oh, hold on. Before we go, man, we got some Wonder Bread. Wonder Bread. Round of applause to Jay Webb. He says, who do you want as a slot or roll with tight ends? It's hard to say who do I want. I think If the guy is not on the roster, I like to see what they do in the draft from that standpoint. If you're asking me today, I want to see Roman Wilson, man, get some love in the slot. I do. I still believe in Roman Wilson wholeheartedly. I'm standing behind that. I would love to see Michael Pittman, DK Metcalf, Roman Wilson. And because Michael Pittman runs those quick slants so well, I ain't even opposed to moving him inside to the slot sometimes for the matchup and let Roman Wilson run the Z. You can mix, definitely mix and match right there. But that is absolutely what I would like to see today. Like I said, I don't think and I could be wrong, I don't think there's a free agent receiver out there that I'm pounding the table for. I mean, I'm not necessarily wanting them to do what like the Dolphins and these guys are doing and trading Waddle and giving up as much capital as they've given up for some of these guys. Don't want to do that. So I would rather see our top three today: Metcalf, Wilson, and Pittman Jr. Outside of that, it would have to be a draft pick. And that's where I'm at with that. So that's what I got. But all right, man, I think that's going to do it, guys. Listen, y'all know the routine. I'm going to add something else to the PSA before I go. You guys know I just got back from vacation, man. Went to an island. Guys, man, take time if you can. I know everybody, listen, I understand this is a tough world out here now. I know everybody doesn't have the time to do it and, may not even have the means. I'm a realist. I understand that. What I will say, though, is if you have the ability to, take time out for yourself and take a vacation. If you have a family, you and yours. If you just have friends and associates, trust me, man. Man. Gotta take time out from your busy lifestyle and just enjoy life. You know what I mean? Just enjoy life. That's the best piece of advice I could give you guys. Whichever way you feel suitable to you to enjoy life, just take time out to do that. Don't get so wrapped up in work and your career and, hey, the Steelers. You know what I'm saying? Take time to enjoy life, man, because it really is a beautiful thing when you just take a time and reflect on it and look at it, especially on an island. Just, wow. It's a thing of beauty. But outside of that, guys, hey, y'all know the routine. Stay safe. Stay healthy. God bless. Good night. Like always, I thank each and every one of you all for tuning in. And unless something big happens this week, I shall catch you in the next one. Peace.